Welcome to First Draft Problems. In this video, I'm going to talk about the most common mistakes writers make when it comes to story endings. Story endings, coming right up. Welcome to the Independent Film School. I'm Thier. 5 most common mistakes when it comes to story endings. Let's dive in. Mistake number 1 is that this is the biggest mistake one could make, which is that the way the story ends doesn't pertain to the theme of the story. So your story is about some particular issue, your character has an issue, or your character is up against another character's issue, or they're up against a societal issue. Whatever that issue is that your story is about, that's the theme of your story. And if the ending of the story doesn't address that, then it's kind of like putting a cow's head on a horse's body. Problem number 2 is that something happens to your character that swerves the story rather than your character makes a decision that snaps things into place or out of place. So that's a very common problem. I see it often. And let me tell you, these story ending problems that I'm going over right now, they pertain to any length story, whether it's a pilot, whether it's an entire season arc, a limited series, a feature, a short. Often when people make shorts, they're looking for that cute little button to end the short on. Fine, I don't mind a cute button, but what makes a story meaningful, at the ending meaningful, is that the character makes a decision. That's what's going to make the ending meaningful. Mistake number 3 I love so much because it's so fun to fix. And this is where you bring some element into the story at the end and you haven't set it up in the beginning. Or you bring something cool in the end and discover an opportunity to set something up in the beginning. I've often heard it said that you can't really write the beginning of your story until you've written the ending, and I find that to be true. So I write the beginning of my story. I generally do write my stories chronologically, knowing as I go that once I write the ending, I'm going to go back and completely rewrite the beginning. So if at the end he shows up with an avocado sandwich, would it be a meaningful, would that moment be that much more meaningful if in the beginning of the story his friend mentioned that he likes avocado sandwiches? There are often a lot of opportunities once you've written the ending to figure out what of it you can set up in the beginning, and then those moments at the end land that much more effectively. Mistake number 4, I generally more see this mistake in people's synopsis of their story or their log line or when they're just kind of coming up with the story. And they put in the ending some realization, some epiphany, rather than an action. So at the end of the story, she realizes that she must love herself first before she can love anyone else. Okay, that's a cool realization. But that's not storytelling. Storytelling is seeing people make decisions and take actions. So when it comes to figuring out your ending, you want to know what action does the person take that indicates that they've had this realization. Don't sweat it if you don't know what that's going to be when you're writing your first draft. I personally, I might put some very rough version of an outline to have some sense of where the story might go. But I give myself a lot of room to discover the story as I write it and let the ending show up and surprise me. But what we're addressing here are first draft problems. So you've written your first draft, you have that ending, and now it's time to step back and say, all right, is this person taking an action that indicates, that shows us that change has taken place? Mistake number 5. This one is my favorite. I left the best for last. This is a really common first draft mistake, and it's so easy to fix. It's what I love about it. which is that big important moment where a character does make a decision and takes an action, after making this big decision, that where they actually change, and we see that beautiful arc in terms of how they've developed. That moment where they make that big decision at the end, the writer just kind of rushes past it. So whenever I see that, I say to the writer, wait. Did she just decide to move out of her boyfriend's apartment? Is that what just happened? Can we take a moment? Don't let the script go at that same pace that it's been going. Everything stops when that big decision happens. She stops. The phone rings. She looks at it. She doesn't answer it. The phone continues to ring. She looks around the room. This will be her last visit there, or her last day there. Deep sigh. She silences her phone. I'm just making it up as I go. She slumps into the couch. Tears. She gets up, pulls a bag out of her closet, begins to fill the bag. So instead of the phone rings, she looks around, grabs a bag, fills it out, leaves the apartment. It doesn't feel like anything. For that big, important decision to really land on us at the end of the story, slow everything down and let us really, it's not written in real time. From the character's point of view, that moment where they make the big decision, the world comes to a stop. Everything slows way down. This is their big decision to do it differently. Let us have that moment. Okay, I hope that helps you shape and craft your story endings. Thank you for writing any story, whether the ending is working yet or not. And remember, first drafts are meant to be full of things that you get to have so much fun fixing. You've subscribed to my channel. You love these videos. It's time for that 90-minute masterclass where I help you eliminate writing blocks and arrive at your best screenplays. Join me at theindependentfilmschool.com. Link is below, and I'll invite you to my training. It is absolutely free. I'll see you there.